Show you here this crown here, crown point, where it said King's Point creates a Uraeus. Both entrances all the way around. And this here, you see the crown created by the triangles, creating the crown itself. But you see the center one is taller. The two ones on the outside, which goes here. This here. This is what this is here. The teeth. That's what it represents. Their teeth. It's the center of the layout, the Great Pyramid layout that sat here, center here. One end would be currency. This would be money area, Red Bark, Tropical Trail. This here would be International Drive, Sonic Road. Here. In the center here would be where this is at right now. Creating the Uraeus. But this is the Atif. And this is the other entrance here. Two on each side. One on each side. The double crowns. On the entrances. Double crown, the teeth. Going back to the billboard sign over the checkers, showing you that the crown itself represents, like saying, a checker piece. Just as the SunTrust building has the pyramids on top, a checker piece, showing that's a chess piece itself. A checkerboard. Commerce itself is dealing with money, commercial, business, showing us the pyramid on the dollar bill, where I said I'm Osiris on the dollar. That's what that's representing right here. So people can say things, that's all they can do, versus showing you what's been said here. How you see the crown. It's created where the middle is taller than the end. Both ends. That's their teeth. That's what that's representing. Somehow strange, out of ordinary, can't believe it. It makes no difference. People believe in stuff they've never seen before, never experienced, heard it from somewhere else, that's heard it from somewhere else, and then you want people to believe it, but never show them a damn thing. But then here it is, somebody can show you something, and then you take it as skeptical. To be skeptic. Keep being skeptic. If the proof doesn't prove anything, then what the hell are you doing? From the bottom of the Uraeus to the top of the Uraeus. I was on top of that building right there. Showing you before this even existed. It's high noon right now. And the Uraeus is right here, showing you here, the two kings, crown points here, up through Uraeus here. Standing Uraeus. Here. Now. Here, speaking about the crown, the triangle, showing you the same as you see crown point. How you see the top, the bottom half, the top half. So the top half showing you that it's saying that it's the South Pole. This is showing you the bottom half is talking about Horus, but it's the same crown. You put this one on top of this one. This is what you get, the same opposite. What you have a crown point here, and what it says here. Sacred symbol because of
The pyramid was typically the pyramid of heaven, kingdom come. The triangle, typical of heaven, here, which what you see today, which when I showed this 2003, I hadn't seen Crown Point, Kings Point, Boulevard. I wouldn't see it till after 2008. I sent this in 2003, the Middle District. And it speaks here, this is the origin of the eternal crown here. This is why the SunTrust building is a crown. That's Crown Point, the Atif crown. This is what the SunTrust building is here. It's coming forth by day, going forth by night. People can talk about what they believe in, but they can't show anything. I'm showing you this. I showed this before I sent this to court. They sent it back as a with prejudice itself, but that didn't mean anything to me. I'm glad they sent this back because I only sent them one copy. But this is what they got. They already know. As you can see, Ra and Osiris. That's what you see here in Orlando. That's what the face appeared. The image of the face. Here, what it says about the crown. The crown is a symbol of the 33rd degree, the highest we have. And because of the importance, we have taken up some considerable trouble in searching the records of the past to find why the Egyptians attached great importance to it and from when hence they took the origin. This is why Crown Point sits there. It's all connected. You see it.
Egypt's most powerful gods, Isis and Osiris, appear throughout funerary texts and art. King Tut's iconic death mask bears Osiris's likeness, while symbols of Isis are
Where was checkers invented? Checkers, also known as draughts, has a rich history that spans centuries. Its origins can be traced back.
South becomes north, the earth turned over. Egyptian magical papyrus, Harris.
A situation where an idea sparked in the mind of some great architect priest. There must have been a very powerful motive behind this idea. You don't start a construction plan raising monuments to heights of 100 meters without being very motivated.
In order to find more clues to the mystery of why they were so motivated, it's necessary to look at the whole area. Egypt is normally seen like this, with north at the top. The ancient Egyptians, however, made their maps facing south. Their whole world view faced south, and the stars that reached the height of their arch through the sky due south was their directional benchmark. The fertile delta known as Lower Egypt, where the Nile flows into the Mediterranean, is thus at the bottom, and the long, narrow Middle Nile, known as Upper Egypt, is at the top. The three great pyramids at Giza, built by the pharaohs Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaura, are therefore here. and we're going to examine the first and largest of them, Khufu's Great Pyramid.
December 21st, 1987, President Reagan addressed the 42nd session of the United Nations General Assembly with a stunning speech.
We often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is formerly the Florida Turnpike, renamed in 1998 Ronald Reagan Turnpike. It runs through the pyramid layout, the Great Pyramid layout. Ronald Reagan Turnpike, 1998. This was 1998, 1997 is what I told him. Federal court. So I talked about how this book here, I said it came out after I had the signs put up in Orlando. Here, it's Orlando itself. So the book came out, written 1999, when it's published here, and in 2001. The signs were up in 1996. What got me about this book, one was the design that caught my eye, and knowing what was going on at the time. And this here, showing it on this page, when I got to 174. There's a woman here, which says this woman here, this woman is a channeler, and she had moved to Orlando, and it was after a breakup of the first marriage. She moved in Florida, where she developed her career as a psychic, working for police and mining companies, even in broadcasting her own television show. She founded the Psychic Center of Florida in Orlando, so that Orlando stood out of everything out of this book, Orlando. So I don't know if they had seen the sign that was up on Blossom Trail, that they came up with this, or did it just connect it? This was good enough for me when I saw that. And then that she was dealing with a entity. She said she had channeled someone called Dr. Frisk. And then in 1970, she had another control named Tom that came through, which she thought was her deceased grandfather, Thomas. And this was in 1969. 1969 was the year that said the two beings would come into the room. And from 1969 till like 74. And so when I saw this, I knew that was connected to Orlando. When I saw the layout of Orlando itself, showing a dollar bill, showing SunTrust building, 441 feet. And it talked about the 9.
Where was checkers invented? Checkers, also known as draughts, has a rich history that spans centuries. Its origins can be traced back to ancient times. The earliest known version of the game was found in an archaeological dig in Egypt. This version dates back to around 3000 BC.
Why are you here? Why did they bring you on this project?
I'm here in case you succeed.
Completed search and
Jackson. I'd like you to meet General West.
Right, General. Okay. So you think you've solved in 14 days what they couldn't solve in 2 years?
2 years?
Anytime.
I have some stuff.
Yes. Just pass them down. You'll have to share them because sorry, I don't have enough of those. But anyway,
Okay, all right. We're obviously looking at a picture of the cover stones. Now, on the outer track, these figures that you would believe to be words to be translated were, in fact, star constellations.
now these constellations were placed in a unique order, forming a map or an address of sorts. 7 points to outline a course to a position, and to find the destination within any three-dimensional space, you need 6 points to determine the exact location.
You said you needed 7 points.
Well, no, 6 for the destination. But to chart a course, you need a point of origin.
Except there's only 6 symbols in the cartouche.
Well, the 7th actually isn't.
Yang Arabia?
That was in the movie that says in Stargate when he took out the candy bar, Fifth Avenue, handed to the man on the other side of the universe through the Stargate. Now Fifth Avenue itself, which what I caught when I saw that, goes back to Fifth Avenue, New York. The obelisk. Fifth Avenue in Universal Studios, where the Revenge of the Mummy, shown in New York again. So here it is. The little clue that gives you the connection. Fifth Avenue itself.
Locations of these 3 obelisks could reveal that an ancient Egyptian alignment is present right here in Manhattan. But why? I've asked a friend of mine who's a designer to help me determine why the Freemasons would have placed these obelisks the way they did nearly 100 years ago. Wow, that is awesome.
I tried to put some landmarks just to kind of give you a picture of where things are and, set up a little atmosphere.
You did a great job.
Thanks.
Empire State Building. That one I know is the Flatiron Building. It's pointing right at the Worth Obelisk. And of course, the Freedom Tower.
They're not to scale, but it kind of just gives you an idea of where things are located.
Well, what about the obelisks?
I have those too. They're much bigger so that you can get some of the detail in them, so it doesn't get confusing. Let's pull these off and then we'll pull out the obelisk.
Great, let's do it.
Here's the first one.
Well, this is the real Egyptian obelisk in Central Park, which is right by the Metropolitan Museum of Art, right about there. The Worth Obelisk.
Here's the last one.
This is the Emmett Obelisk, and this one goes to St. Paul's Chapel right here. Okay, now when you look at this, what does it look like?
A line.
A straight line. That's what I thought. But actually, it's not a straight line. And I want to check that to see if indeed it is off. Why don't we start by marking these 3 points. Here's St. Paul's Chapel. Here is the Worth, and then Central Park Egyptian obelisk.
So I have a straight edge here.
Perfect. It's off.
Yeah, just slightly.
We've got 3 points, and the one that's off is the Worth obelisk. The question is, why is it not straight? Why does it take this bend? Carrie, you know what? Something just occurred to me. Hold on a sec. I've got some pictures here that I took of New York. This is in Grand Central Station, and when I was in there, I noticed something very unusual. There are a number of constellations that are depicted on the ceiling. And what's unusual about them is they're not depicted as we look up at the stars, they're actually depicted looking down from space, or what God would see. Except for the stars in Orion. Take a look at these 3 stars right here. These are the 3 stars in Orion's belt, and they're not straight. They're almost straight, just like these 3 obelisks are almost straight. This has got to be a depiction of Orion's belt.
So why would anyone spend this much energy recreating Orion's belt in Manhattan?
You know what? There is a precedent, and it goes back over 5,000 years. In Egypt, we see the same thing. The Great Pyramids in Giza are laid out like Orion's belt. This was discovered not that long ago.
So what's so special about Orion's belt?
Well, in Egyptian mythology, Orion symbolized Osiris, the male god. These 3 stars in Orion's belt point to the star Sirius. Sirius in ancient Egyptian mythology symbolized the goddess Isis. And you know what? If you notice, these 3 obelisks point out into the harbor at what?
The Statue of Liberty?
The Statue of Liberty. She symbolizes the goddess Isis amongst many other goddesses. So I do think we are onto something here, and I think this is Orion's belt. And this is exactly the type of thing that the Freemasons would do. So really what these 3 obelisks represent is a piece of Egypt here in Manhattan.
Here's how you could tell that the mall in the back, the rear entrance, where I said the triangle representing the 3 positions of the billboards in Orlando, 1996. That's why it's 3 sides there in the back, because it's talking about the layout of the billboards, the Osiris face that appeared in 1996. To me, in November 1996. And then that the trees, the citrus trees, the orange trees are representing the house that sits inside, as well as the black tip of the pyramid, the black pyramid that's on the stairs, that's on top of the bigger pyramid, because it's showing you that it's the same positions as the poles with the same house. Because here in the room, you can see design of the rear entrance of the mall, what's on the floor, the room shape. Just back here, it's just shorter from the back going here, because that would be the door. Coming in the door, you come through this part first, and then you see on the edge the 2 parts on the edge here on each side. Here, that sits below the 3-sided pyramid, tetrahedron. It's right here, the same place that those trees represent. Going back to what I wrote in the book, it said, what I set to court, 2003. The immutable law of demand, talking about telepathy, communication, the same as I told him in 1997. That's why you can see this room is the same shape, and the same shape as Coleman itself. The same design that's on the floor of the mall. That's the point that points towards the food court. And coming down this way, we'll be going towards the door, leaving the mall, which this would be the door from the back entrance. Here to here, only shorter here. Because that's what the mall represents. It comes from the energy from this house, from inside the Great Pyramid layout that I told them about, 1997. But you don't want to hear it because it doesn't fit your narrative or what you think is reality or what you think is supposed to be. But it doesn't make no difference. This is why the entrance of the Revenge of the Mummy Universal Studios entrance has a direct line to the same house to this point. Here. This is why at night you can see the universal light comes straight over this house from Universal Studios. And here, why there are the opposite. Well, you'll see this here going up. Here is one side of the mall, and then the other side of the mall seems the opposite. Showing the Orion is in the middle. And you see 7 up, 7 down. 7 days, 7 nights. Coming forth by day, going forth by night. 7-7. It's 3 of them. It's talking about the Orion. The energy. The Orion belt. That's why there's 3 poles. You're not going to find any other design of these in this whole neighborhood. Design, the opposite. This is the mall at Millennium. Center. 7 up, 7 down. Coming forth by day, going forth by night. It's in the front and the rear of the mall. 7 days dark, 7 days light. Here. That's why Revenge of the Mummy entrance, you can draw a line directly from there to here. Believe it or not. This was here what I told them. The top of the layer of the Great Pyramid of Orlando has a street called Americana Boulevard running out of it to the east and ends at 441 Orange Blossom Trail. It is in the area of the eye of the Great Seal, the reverse. That shows an eye looking at the activities taking place in America, Americana. Distinctively bearing the characteristic of America, its civilization, or its culture. Webster's Third International Dictionary. This is what I told them. This is why Americana, the mall itself, sits on Americana Boulevard. The relationship to American history is in the vision of the eye over the Great Seal. The location of the three houses making the Belt of Orion, as also where the claimant lived, is in the same location as the eye. This is before the mall itself, the mall linear. This is why it's been built. Because it's dealing with this, the immutable law. The location as the eye and the sun. That's why the disc, the sun disc, is inside of that mall, showing you a sun ray. Just because I know and you don't know doesn't mean that I should unknow what I know. That's why I'm talking about what's going on now. This is why you're seeing what's happening politically today. What's going on is here. What did it say here? Give me liberty, give me death. When he saw the condition of the black slave, George Watt stated, if we don't fight, we will be put in the same position as our slaves. This is Make America Great Again. This is where it all is coming from. This is why nobody's compared, nobody's actually prepared to deal with what they're dealing with politically today. Because this is what this is. You're out of their league. This is a political. This is bigger than this. I sent this to court. Lockheed Martin. I sent this to them. Here, I wrote this. I sent this to court. That was before they renamed Colonial Drive, Martin Luther King Drive. Talk about you cannot prosecute a sitting president, but I can show you this, and it doesn't mean a damn thing. This is why we're here now. It's the same as in the room. One end. Showing you the layout. Where the door was at. Same as in the room. It's short on the back. It's longer on the sides in the room. Here. Back to the top. House that sits in the middle of the layout where the citrus trees are. That's why it's opposite at one end. And you see the same metal. It's on the outside of the house showing you the same thing. Going the opposite way. 7 and 7.
7 days, 7 nights. 7 days in the front, 7 nights in the back. Here. But the Orion is in the middle, showing the Orion here. Here. And that's why it's going opposite directions. Same metal you'll see is on the front of the house. Showing you the top. As it's in the floor, showing you that this is where this mall comes from. The energy, the Great Pyramid, the layout. No matter how bizarre, crazy, can't be, say it ain't so, it is what it is. Just like anything else, everybody would say, well, some things you just can't explain. This is one of those things you're not going to be able to explain. But I already know because what I wrote. That's why it's plain and simple to me. Here. Same thing. That's for the energy. The Great Pyramid. Also going to the circle and the triangle, showing like the same as a man and a woman. The symbol. From the middle. That's what this mall is. What I said about Americana Boulevard, the eye coming out of the, like a sun ray. Next door, the Winter Run. Winter Run, what is this? Wintertime. Snowflake. The snowflake. Winter.
Go back to this Project Blue Book here itself. That I set the court. Writ of immutable law demand. Here. Immutable, unmovable. Here. Showing that this, the woke, as you would say. Here. The pyramid power of pyramid itself. Showing you more millennia, where I can show you that. Because I wrote this here, 2003. Where I said here. Claim it, presented the great seer, which revealed to him as official authorization of his statement. This physical proof was communicated to the claimant by celestial beings who informed the claimant of his identity through telepathic messages backed up with physical proof. This is why I can go to the mall right now. From 2003 to now, they showed the claimant the reason for the communication was they represented universal order. Here, watching everything. In recent times, you hear these people talking about these drones that are communicating with people. Well, this is the mall. This is Orlando. Here. talking about precognition, telepathy. Here. You might not know it. Doesn't mean that I should unknow it. Because you don't know doesn't mean I should unknow. Try unknowing something you know. Just to satisfy someone who does it. This is why I can go to the mall and show everything. Because of this. This is why the Urea sits where it sits as the Crown Point, Kings Point Parkway, because it's talking about the immutable law of demand, immutable, unmovable. Going back to the beginning, the message was received on August 11, 1995. It was upside down. Here. This went to federal court. This wasn't given to somebody to boost an ego. This went to the court while I was halfway in the time. So obviously I wasn't trying to make a deal or anything like that. I sent this to them to let them know what's going on. As if they didn't know already. Showing what I said here. People say things, but when it comes down to it, putting yourself against it, putting yourself to the test, they'll never do it. Here, showing you, talking about the three houses, where I said the Orion, where you see inside, the belt of Orion, where you'll see in the mall up to the waist. Because I'm talking about the three houses on Snowflake. Here, the layout. This, the court, federal court. I didn't need anybody to agree with it, to second it. Here. How communication between dimensions and people, where people say that they had a vision from Jesus or some invention, something that came through and from outside of their mind to them to spark them to do what they do. It may pan out. It may take a while, but it pans out, but they know it didn't come from them.
Form, he appointed himself ruler. He used the Stargate to bring thousands of people here to this planet as workers for the mines. Just like the one we saw. This mineral is clearly the building block of all his technology. With this, he can sustain eternal life. Now, something happened, where is it, back on Earth? A rebellion or uprising, and the Stargate was buried there. Fearful of a rebellion here, Ra outlawed reading and writing. He didn't want the people to remember the truth.
Word to Bob. You be teaching her that African stuff now. You know Master don't hold with that. You want to see her whooped?
Don't worry, Mama. I don't say Toubab when I'm with white folks. I say white folks.
You gotta get up early before daylight, kids. You see to Missy Ann's old room be ready for her.
Yes, Mom.
And you see to it that them andirons be polished up and shiny and... What's that?
These letters spell out my name. Missy Ann showed me when we used to play school. And showed me about reading and writing. That's a Kizzy. K-I-Z-Z-Y. Oh!
Don't you never do nothing like that again. No reading, no writing. Never ever, you hear me? White folks know a nigga can read and write. They see to it that nigga be worse than whipped. That nigga be sold. Yes, sir. Master Bean is bestest move when Missy Ann be here. He's happy. Happy as can be. And it's good for him, it's good for everybody. But you do nothing that will cause no trouble. Go sit and eat.
The shafts. It seems that not only were these pyramids of Giza a representation of the heavenly kingdom above, but they were also the ancient Egyptians' version of a sort of Cape Canaveral, with the ability to propel the soul of a pharaoh to distant destinations in the sky. To understand why, we need to go back to the pyramid texts and the Book of the Dead. New translations of the pyramid text tell us much about how the pharaohs regarded themselves. They saw themselves as part of a direct line going back to Osiris, the first god king who founded Egypt. They were his embodiment. They were god kings, and each pharaoh attempted to reenact the life and death of Osiris. When a pharaoh died, he was mummified in the same way that Isis had reconstituted Osiris. They were then encased in a splendid outer shell to look like Osiris. This gold sarcophagus of Tutankhamun is the most magnificent example that has so far been discovered. These papyri of the Book of the Dead in the British Museum tell us of one of the great ascension rituals that would have followed the preparation of the mummy. This was known as the opening of the mouth ceremony. His consort and his still mortal son must cause new life to stir in him. This had to be done at an exact moment, the dawn rising of Orion. The pharaoh must be reborn as a god. Though Vall and Gilbert imagined this most dramatic and ceremonial moment could well have taken place in the Queen's chamber. The son and wife of the dead pharaoh performed this ceremony with an adze in the shape of the little bear. This was often made of iron taken from fallen meteorites. At that time, this was their only source of iron. Every now and then, they saw these meteorites come thundering down through the sky, and to them it was real evidence that the star world existed. This strange iron substance that occurred nowhere on Earth they thought was a dribble of semen from the gods, and this led them to think that the gods had iron bones as well.
I mean, who could imagine?
Going forth by night. Triangle, the 9 triangles showing you sunrise, high noon, sunset. Coming forth by day, going forth by night. Sunrise, high noon, sunset. You're here to see the Coleman layout. This is what I put in, what I sent them in 2003. Coleman layout. Sunrise, high noon, sunset. The Orion layout. Christmas tree representing the celebration of the sun. Just give people a reason to shop, to buy, to celebrate. And whatever you tell them, they'll go for it. So call it the birth of Jesus, just to satisfy them. They go for it. Showing the constellations of each pole. Representing the great year, 25,920 years. Yeah, showing you here. Coming forth by day, going forth by night. Day, front, and the night, and the rear. That's what this mall is. Coming forth by day, going forth by night. Just want to talk about the woke. The wokest. When I say I'm the wokest. Take it as you want it to. This is what it is. This mall represents the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. Coming forth by day, going forth by night. So here, sun disk fronts entrance of Mall at Millennia. Dropped the 2 L's because they didn't have 2 L's didn't exist back then. So Mall at, you have MAAT, M-A-A-T. Dropped the 2 L's. Mall at Millennia. Under here is the sun disk itself. So here you have the day coming forth by day. Here. This is coming forth by night. Stars. So here in the mall you have coming forth by day, the sun at night. Coming forth by night, going forth by night here. MAAT. Here. Showing you this representing night itself. The 9 triangle here. And the reason why there's the triangle because it's representing the positions of the billboards sat that created the Stargate. That's why you see 3 sides. Same as there's 3 poles on the sun disk itself. You'll see 3 poles. Because it represents the poles where the sign sat, the gold face, the Osiris face sat. 1996, before this was built. Next door. But this energy comes back from Karnak. You believe it or not. That's why you see the 3 showing the tetrahedron. We're just talking about the 3 sides. Those 3 signs. 1996. The energy exists. That's what created this. Impossible. The magic. You have 9 here. The same way in the front. When you look at the lights that come out on each side of the obelisk or the sun disk itself, you'll see 9 strings of light on each side creating 27 strings of light that used to creating the sun ray. So you have 9 strings of light on the sun disk coming down to each side, and then hit back here, you have 9. Back here. So 9 in front, 9 in the back. They'll never get it. Go on to the Enoch. Just as it said in the book, Stargate Conspiracy 174. People never get it. You'll see the eye. It's talking about coming forth by day, going forth by night. Pyramid text itself also. People looking for one thing, told one story. There's another story that actually was here the whole time. I don't want you to know that. Stay deaf, dumb, and blind to the truth. As the eye said, the eye itself, all seeing eye. It's on the dollar. Just as you see it here. I said the 3 sides created a pole. The 3 poles where the billboard sat in 1996, where one of the houses went inside of the Great Pyramid, just as it's shown here, with the 5 black triangles with the larger one sitting on top of the larger one, which stands for the way it went inside of the layout of the Great Pyramid. Top one is 638 West Anderson Street. The second one is 5301 Snowflake. The third one is 5312. The fourth one is 5320. And the other is 4411 Elderberry. That's what this represents. Here. That's why you have the 3 sides on the triangles where the stars are at, and then the sun has the 3 poles. Because it's talking about the 3 billboard signs. Here. And that's where the houses were at, next to this place, before this place was built. And there's the mall next to it. That's what it comes to. Exactly north. That's why you see this floor itself, the checkered floor at the bottom. Just as if you're in a lodge, you're seeing a lodge, that black and white checkered floor. But this is the bottom, this is the step, but this mall represents a man. The top, with the stars, Macy's. And here, Bloomingdale, which is in New York. Here, you'll see the bottom of the floor. This is Checkers. The billboard sat over in Checkers. That's why I said the SunTrust building downtown, a checker piece, or basically it would be a chess piece. A king. It might sound strange, crazy, out of the ordinary, impossible, not so, say it ain't so, but it is what it is. Take it or leave it. I know what this mall is. It's like you see the wormhole itself. Traveling. People come here, all they see is money. That's what they think this is. There's a triangle up there across on the other side. Showing you how it traveled over the top of the roof of the house. That's why it's centered from the beginning in the middle. It's showing you from both sides when the object came down over the center went over the center of the house. That's what this is here. Not how strange, out of ordinary, impossible, can't be. This is what it is.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, when you're old,
That's why you can see the wormhole look. And the house it went over was 5320, which is what I saw at the corner of my eye. There's the eye in Orion, and you see just up to the waist. Where if you look at the yard perimeter, 5320, you get the bottom of the Orion, same as that is right there. That's where the object went over. The house with the yard that is shaped like the lower part of the Orion. That's why that's only showing the waist. Just as in a great year, you see all these poles representing the zodiac constellations going into the millennium, 25,000 year, the great year. Here. But it's all covered up by a story, a fairy tale that they tell people to believe in something, but then they tell you a lie, to believe the lie openly and embrace it. But then expect to believe the truth, or believe the truth. You should never believe the truth. You should know the truth. Believing is unsure.
December 25th was originally a holiday dedicated to the invincible sun, related to the winter solstice in Rome. This celebration was Christianized, decreeing that that day would commemorate the birth of the only Son of Justice, Christ. Likewise, indulgences were established.
Helios Grand, representing Helios, the sun itself, traveling from sunrise to sunset. And we have Luna Terra, the moon. And we have Stella Nova, the stars. So we have the sun, the moon, and the stars. We have day and night, which goes back to coming forth by day, going forth by night, showing Orlando itself. Same as in the Mall at Millennia. The front entrance is showing you the sun, the day. The back is showing you the stars, with the blue ground, the background, showing you the night, showing you the day and night, coming forth by day, going forth by night. Showing you here, both coming out of the layout of the Great Pyramid, what you call the Pyramid Text or the Book of the Living. Here, in Orlando, SunTrust 441 feet with the crown. Same as Crown Point, the 5-point crown. Showing you the pyramid itself. The pyramid triangle representing heaven itself. The 3-point, like he would say, the Trinity itself. But here, coming forth by day, going forth by night. Helios, see the 5 domes. They represent the meaning of heaven and earth, sky and the earth. 5. Same as domes saying the capital, the Vatican. Or I said the Vatican itself has the obelisk. The sun disk, the obelisk itself, center, St. Peter's Square. Universal means Catholic. Catholic means universal. Showing is going back to what I told him back in 2011. Going to the energy of the Stargate itself. The triangles that create the crown represent heaven also. The triangle itself. Next to Lockheed Martin, Area 51 that I marked off here in 2016. That's Area 51. Before this was even mentioned. as they were going to build this epic universe, the Stargate. This is the epic right here. The story itself. Since 1996. Going back to West Babylon, New York, where you might have seen the Commander Avenue, George Washington, and the symbol at West Babylon School as the eagle, the screaming eagle, the dollar itself. George Washington, the eagle, and the pyramid on the dollar bill. Connecting it to 684 to the obelisk in Manhattan, the three of them. The same way as the three houses on Snowflake Court. 5320, 5312, and 5301 create the Orion that was there before the Mall of Millennia was built in 2001. Going back from 1989 to 1995. It's all here, Orlando itself. Coming forth by day, going forth by night. Sunlight Path, it's all here. Sun Trust, 441 feet. The Crown, that's what it is, Orlando. People would say, oh, what has it got to do with Egypt, or what is it? It's dealing with the sun. The same way Christianity had nothing to do with the New World, because that's why it was a New World, because it was never mentioned in the Bible. So now when somebody says this, you want to question it as being, what has it got to do with that? When this, what you say is people try to put something that had nothing to do with this here. The New World means you have something new itself. It was never mentioned. It was unfound. People try to make it fit, but that's not what it was. The sun is everywhere. It's been over here. Wherever you're in Mexico, with the Aztecs, the Mayans, they all knew this. They all knew this. This here, Orlando, the Kingdom of the Sun. Florida, 1513. Easter Sunday. That's the name when they named Florida Ponce de Leon. It's all connected. Going back to the sun. The sun, the moon, and the stars.
To understand the meaning of the word Catholic and its origin. The term Catholic comes from the Greek katholikos, which means universal or total. That is, something that encompasses everyone without exclusions. In its earliest uses within Christianity, this term did not have the connotation of a specific religious denomination as we understand it today, but rather it referred to the universal church, or the universal Christian community. That is, to the church that extended to all peoples and nations, regardless of their origin, culture, or language. In its early days, the term Catholic was used to describe the inclusive and all-encompassing nature of early Christianity.
So you got 3 lights over my house here. And you got 2 over here. There's 3 here. One there, I think that's universal. I don't know where these are coming from. They're over every night. Three, triangle. You see these lights? Helios Grand. See how they go up, straight up. Different color lights. Now you see them turning as I'm standing here. But they're straight up. Now this one here. Now they're above me. Now you see the universal lights. They'll flicker in the same as they were Epic Universe.
Same light that we're flickering. Just as I'm saying this, coming all the way over here to this house as I'm speaking. Epic universe there, here, as I'm speaking. You see this? As I'm speaking. Epic universe. So light usually comes up this way. The same lights I was showing at Epic Universe are now here at Universal Studios. Directly over the house. You know what time it is? They were flicking them over there when I was over there. Now they come over here and they flicker them from Universal Studios. They were flickering from Epic Universe while it was even open. But I was standing on Destination. Now I'm here and the light show is here. Revenge of the Mummy. See these white holes of the clouds. Not lights, like coming from a spotlight. They're moving in all different directions. Sometimes you see one, sometimes you'll see two, sometimes you'll see three, sometimes you'll see multiple, more than 3 or 4 at one time, going in different directions. That one just came from the north. That came from west. Came from north too. Been saying this since 2019. I've seen those drones since 2018. I remember back in 1996, October 1996, when I saw the layout of Orlando, the way it looked like Orion, the 5 houses, range like Orion, came out the house at about 2 in the morning just to see the way the houses were aligned, again in the cul-de-sac, like the 3 pyramids. And as I stepped out the garage, the motion light came on, and there were, suddenly I seen something coming out of the tree on my left. And it was an orb like that, but it was small. It was about the size of the palm of your hand. Full size, probably about the size of a grown man's hand. And it was a oval shape, but kind of transparent, looking like that. And one came out, then another one came out, and then suddenly there had to be at least 20 of them that came out, and it just floated off over the house on my right, 5320 house, Snowflake Court. Went in the direction of where the mall at Millennium would be built 3 or 5 years later. And these orbs here, I can tell you that's what came down that night. That was in 1996, but they were smaller. Coming out of a tree. I've seen this before, same time. You see how the red? So now we've got red. they disappeared and then the red came. I've seen that before. See the red tint in the cloud? Disappeared. See how it's spread out? It's not like it's this light single spot. It's spread. But do you see the red tint?